On this episode of On the Hunt, we're taking a look at the indie darling Inside by Playdead, and going for the 100% achievement. Now this first one, basically, everything there is to it is to find these devices and pull out the core to get the achievements. And the biggest telltale sign is this yellow electric cord that powers the device. And so, keeping your eyes out for that gives out a lot of clues as to where these things are hiding. This first one I just came across naturally through gameplay after I fell through the bottom, and so that one's pretty easy to find. This next one is I think one of the first ones on the underwater segment. Basically, you notice this beam of light coming through from underneath the box, and you need to boost that box open. And now this one was a tricky one. It took me a while to figure it out, but basically there's two mind controls and there's two zombies. So you need to get one of the zombies attached to this second mind control unit by boosting him up there. Bada bing, bada boom. Then you go to the first mind control unit, which will then in turn control the first zombie in the second head unit, which you can then use to manipulate the second zombie to walk over there and pull out the core for this achievement. And I've got to say, I'm a little ashamed to admit, but those were the only two that I was able to successfully find on my first playthrough. So I had to go back a second time to look more carefully for these other hidden secrets. Now, the first one in the game is pretty early on when you're getting chased down. And all you got to do is to jump into the lake after the first dogs chase you. And immediately, now that I caught onto that yellow cord thing right here, you can very easily see the yellow cord going back into underground or wherever this is from. So quickly catch your breath and swim back to follow the cord. Alright, next up is when we come to the barn and jump off onto the pile of pigs. Lovely. And one thing I didn't consider at first was that this little cart goes both ways. So bring it to the left instead of the right and pull back the plank board to reveal the location of the next device. And man, the inside of this barn, oof, it's so creepy and gross. Yuck. Three little piggies went to market. You know that little nursery story thingamajig? Haha. Wee wee wee. The three little piggies cried wee 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 all the way home, except for they didn't. Alright, next up is this first part when you slide down the roof. I initially climbed up, but if you look really carefully, there's of course that yellow cord that goes right behind the ladder. Climb down and wow, super easy. Now, if this was in the real world, obviously that would be something you could easily see because you can look down. But that's the thing that makes video game worlds so much fun to explore, especially with a forced perspective like this. Now, the first time I came across this next little bit, I was really confused as to how to access this next one. And so I just didn't really give it a second thought and continued on my journey. Initially, what I thought is that somehow I'd need to pull something over to help me climb up to reach this little platform. But on my second playthrough, I realized something really neat is that this thing that I'm turning, the top platform, is actually a clock, or at least it's designed to look and behave like a clock. So we can just pause this really quick. You can clearly see the upper platform is working as the minute hand, the bottom platform, which was below us, is working like the hour hand. And once that hour hand is pointed down enough, close to 6 o'clock as possible, all we have to do is a little backtracking to see that the platform is now accessible. And of course the name of the achievement and the description is very subtle. It's kind of Easter eggy on how to achieve this achievement and how to find it, if you're paying attention. Which of course the first playthrough I wasn't paying attention at all. As with this achievement up here, we can see when I first came to this beach, I just was like, hey, it's gotta keep going. But you can clearly see this electrical cord right here that, you know, where does it go? And so I figured, well, basically everywhere I've been to, I want to go in all directions that I can to explore, but I didn't go all the way to the left with this one, so let's go to the left and let's see what's over there. I've used the submarine to ram these loose ladder metal docking thingies, and that conveniently leaves a platform for you to jump and climb onto. This next one is when you have to get a bunch of zombies, like 19 of them, to step onto the pressure plate, which will open the door to let you pass. And of course the first time, do you see it? Look closely. There she is, that yellow electric cord. Of course I missed that on the first time, but all you have to do is get your 3 zombie buddies, come back, and have them help you pull out the plank. Whoops! So yeah, this one took me a couple tries to do, but you want to immediately grab the torch and use that to defend yourself against the dogs as you make your way toward the machine. You have got to be kidding me. Alright, so for this next one, I thought I was onto something. This is with the one right before the clock rotating one. And, cause see, I swam down here originally and I saw the little pod, and so I thought, well, there's gotta be something around here somewhere. What I hadn't seen before was this door conveniently illuminated by the light. And so you simply have to pull on these things to loosen it, and the door will slide down. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is when you first get your gill fish breathing power. And you swim to the very bottom where that door is, and that's pretty much it. Alright, this next one also came from a lack of exploring all the possible areas in a room, and so playing through my second time, I was able to discover this little thing. You see that little red button? I wonder what that does. So instead of activating this box after you get it up there, on the left side of the room you push it all the way to the right, and it'll push you up just barely enough that you can tap that button. And lo and behold, something pops down. And of course, right by that button to the right, you can see that yellow electric cord that leads the way. And the thing won't move on its own, so you need to press the button again in order to push it back up. Luckily though, it'll go fall down automatically as you step on it. Alright, so this next one is the very last one chronologically in the main game. As you can see right there, right where I'm standing, there are those, that's the yellow electric cord. And how the light's illuminated, it doesn't seem like the ladder can go up any higher, but it can! And of course, these yellow electric cords go right up there with it. And so all you gotta do is follow to where it leads and find the core and pull it out. And let's just take a pause really quick. This is just a suspicion I've had, but I think this map right here, or this thing on the wall, is actually a map of where all of the other cores are throughout the entire game. We can see as he kind of stops to look at it, there are 14 achievements and 13 lights up here, with the 14th being the pod we're about to enter right now. Now, I don't know if that's a for sure thing, but I'm pretty sure it is, and that's a pretty cool little, I don't know if it's an Easter egg, but it's just neat. Something else I find interesting is once you do that, all of the other lights fade except for that second core. Now, unfortunately, there are still 3 hidden secrets that I just could not find, so I had to look them up. And so here they are in chronological order. This one is when you get into the cornfields. Towards the end, there's just this door that leads in the ground. Oh, there it is. Like, how can you find that? I have no idea. I don't know how people can find these things. And again, that's something like if this was real life, well, obviously I'd see that. But yeah, just one of those tricky little hidden secrets that you can't find unless you look really, really hard. But just that door. At the end of the corn maze. And as another we're in a dark room for photography, and these photos will develop. It looks like it already has developed, but if you look really closely, that's foreshadowing the human blob that we're about to become. And considering this is at the very beginning of the game, like, that's kind of weird, just a little bit. And now we can also see the photo to the left of it starting to develop. And, no wait, go back! But before we leave, let's just look at that. So the photo on the right is obviously the blob. I'm curious to know what the photo on the left is. It looks kind of like one of the cages that we're in. There's a couple of different cages that are kind of like that. But yeah, I'm just curious as to what that is. And this next one was tricky too. There's no way you can really know about it, but you can kind of see the electrical cords on the ground there, but they're not yellow, so I didn't notice this at all until it was pointed out to me on the internet. But basically, you have to bring the little mermaid thing as close to you as possible, which gives you enough time to go back to where you jumped in originally. Now the mermaid's coming. Oh gosh, oh gosh. Super scary. But yeah, just this hidden little cavity, like, how is anyone supposed to know about this? It's baffling. But again, hey, if I had explored that, then, you know, I'm sure I would have found it, but there's no way I want to explore the water when that thing's swimming around and it trying to kill me, you know? Alright, and this is the last one for the count. This is towards the end, before you get into the office room where the big blob is. This is towards the final act. Right there. See that thing? Yeah. You need to figure out how to get your zombie friends to come back up the elevator and then to throw you up onto that wire. This is another really, really hard puzzle that, like, oh man, I would have never, ever been able to figure this out without someone telling me. So it's a really, really cool little secret. Part of this puzzle is that there are these 2 zombies that run faster than all the other zombies. You need to get them in the elevator before anyone else so that they can push you up to the rope, and that the remaining zombies are able to push you up to the location of the device. And just like that, we've 100% completed all of the achievements in Inside. Well, there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching, and good luck.